Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. Guyana has been producing oil since December of 2019, and during that course of time, there has been a significant decline in the domestic fishing industry, purportedly as a result of the drilling production operations by the international oil companies currently operating offshore. Against this backdrop, the government on Wednesday last signed off on a raft of new regulations to be enforced under the Fisheries Act that cater for, in addition to protocols for the handling and processing of local catch, the importation of fish and fish products. The regulation signed on Wednesday last by Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa speaks to the approval of vessels and processing facilities, conditions to be met before fish can be placed on the local market, and importation, among other aspects. As it relates to the importation of fish, the regulation speaks specifically to the conditions to be met by an importer, notifications, offshore inspections, as well as foreign government inspections. The PPPC government has since transferred over $40 billion in oil earnings from the Natural Resource Fund to the Consolidated Fund so that it can support several projects outlined in the 2022 budget. As a result of the oil money being lumped with revenues from other sectors, there is no way of tracing which projects it is going to. International energy analyst Arthur Deakin is of the belief that such an approach is not in keeping with best practices. He believes Guyanese ought to know exactly what projects their oil money is being spent on in the interest of transparency and accountability. The analyst, who has vast insight into the energy sector, particularly in the Americas, advised that Guyana should consider increased oversight mechanisms so that it safeguards all opportunities for proper development through its oil wealth. Meanwhile, with the commissioning of Guyana's first automotive tolling system at the Demerara Harbour Bridge Corporation, there is expected to be a reduction in the time it takes for commuters to pay the toll at the bridge. The government of Guyana paid $15 million to set up the system at the bridge with hopes of reducing traffic congestion around the area. On Friday, Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edgell commissioned the tolling system. Earlier this year, General Manager of the bridge, Wayne Watson, had stated that the new system successfully passed its pilot testing phase, which began in February, with a few selected vehicles. Explaining how the system works, Watson had explained that commuters will pay their toll via a radio frequency identification tag, but first they will have to be registered to a database linked to a mobile money account. And moving on, the PPPC government, through the Ministry of Public Works, is preparing to spend some $535 million on another geometric improvement project for Vlissingen Road. This time the project will be between Princess Street and Mandela Avenue along the Vlissingen Road, Cemetery Road. Bids for this project were opened on Thursday at the NPTAB office, which revealed that 13 contractors are vying for the contract. We were informed by a ministry official yesterday that the scope of works for this project entails the construction of concrete drains, a walkway, resurfacing of the road, and reconstruction of culverts. In other news, a Brazilian man, 28-year-old Francesco Alves de Araujo Jr., could not believe his luck on Thursday night after he walked into the Albertown police station to make a report about a robbery and saw the suspect that was already there in handcuffs. All Francesco Alves, a business administrator, had to do was to tell police that the boy they have in custody is the same individual who, along with 3 others, had robbed him earlier that evening. Police identified the suspect as a 15-year-old of Sophia and reported that their ranks had arrested him for shooting at them around 20 hours 45 along Ornock Street, Queenstown. However, at the time of his arrest, the ranks had no clue he had robbed Francesco Alves just minutes before they captured him. The ranks were on patrol duties and had spotted a juvenile and another teen, 17-year-old, traveling along Ornock Street on a motorcycle. They reportedly decided to stop them, but instead of obeying the ranks, signaled to pull over. The pillion rider, which was the 15-year-old, opened fire on them. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This is your news at noon. We will resume after the break.
Experience more than award-winning speed.
Way more.
Get the best that LTE has to offer on Digicel, officially the fastest mobile network in Guyana. Ookla, the company behind Speedtest, recognizes Digicel as the best mobile network in Guyana. With the best LTE experience and the fastest data speeds, experience it all with Digicel. Better together.
Welcome back. Police are currently investigating reports that a pensioner on Thursday reportedly lost her balance and ended up being crushed by the left rear wheel of a garbage truck owned by Puran Brothers. Dead is Yvonne Morrison of Beefield Sophia. She was crushed around 11 hours 30 along the same Beefield Road. Police have arrested the driver of the truck who reported that the woman was initially walking along the road in front of the truck. The driver alleged that he had tooted his horn and Morrison had stopped into the corner to allow him to pass. As he proceeded to drive the truck, Morrison reportedly lost her balance and fell into the pathway of the truck. In other news, as regional leaders pursue a robust plan to ensure food security by cutting down their respective food import bill by 25% over the next 3 years, most, if not all of them, agree that there must be a removal of illegal trade barriers between members of CARICOM. This joint position was echoed on Thursday by at least 3 heads of government as the 3-day inaugural Regional Agri-Investment Forum was launched at the National Cultural Center in Georgetown under the theme Investing in Vision 25 by 2025. Locally, the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry have been bitterly complaining of the trade barriers implemented by Trinidad and Tobago in particular. In fact, just before the launch of the Agri-Investment Forum, the private sector body issued a statement to the press in which it advised the government to not sign any agreements with the Twin Island until it removes the non-tariff embargo that is preventing Guyanese businesses from exporting produce to that country. And now let's tell you, foreign ministers of CARICOM met virtually on Wednesday last for the 25th meeting of the Council for Foreign and Community Relations, where among other things there was a clarion call for small states to rely more than ever on focused, organized and coordinated diplomacy. This is in addition to the need for bolstering relations with like-minded states and continuing to advocate and ensure that the region's interests are protected and promoted. The plea was made by CARICOM Secretary General Carla Barnett during the opening session and was grounded in the internal agenda for the remainder of the year, namely the several multilateral engagements for which the community must prepare itself for. And moving on, GCOM is mulling the use of biometrics such as fingerprint and retina identification at the polling booths in future general and regional elections, a move that has since found support with at least one faction of the political opposition, the AFC. The party in a public missive yesterday said it has taken note of the information in the public space that the PPP-appointed commissioners on GCOM are optimistic that biometrics could be added to Guyana's election day process to eliminate the possibility of impersonation. As such, it was noted that, undoubtedly, using the biometrics, such as fingerprint and retina identification at the polling booth, will deter culprits who have a penchant for corrupting the system through illegal activities. And troubling news, a mother on Wednesday found her 5-year-old son hanging from a guava tree close to a swinger in their yard at Akawini Pomeroon River. The 25-year-old woman told police that she found her child around 10 hours. According to police, the 5-year-old boy is presently in the ICU of the Georgetown Public Hospital. His mother said that earlier that morning she and her son were lying on her bed when she had fallen asleep. When she had woken up a short while after, she could not find her son. The young mother then ventured into the yard where she saw him hanging from the guava tree. She claimed that she rushed to his aid and took him down by removing the rope that was around his neck. Police are investigating the matter. With the time now moving on to 12 hours 44 in Guyana, we wrap things up for today with the page 7 of today's Kaieteur News. It has long been established that a person is innocent until proven guilty by a court of law. We certainly embrace this notion. But when some of the injustices in this land are taken into consideration, it is easy to be swayed into believing that some people, those who met out wrong that will be felt for generations, should be placed behind bars without a trial to languish for eternity. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow.